Morning. In the previous video, we have seen some of the definitions which are mentioned in section 2 of the Sale of Goods Act 1930. Okay, we have seen till subsection 8. Okay, section 2 subsection 8 we have completed in the previous video. Now we will see the further subsection. Now subsection 9 states about mercantile agent. Okay, when we saw Indian Contract Act, we have seen the topic of agency, the classification of agents, means the types of agents and all. So mercantile agent, in that we are having a broker, a commission agent, a delegate agent, means many type of their commercial practices for sale of goods, for sale and purchase. These agents are appointed. Not only sale of goods but a sale of anything. When you enter into contract through an agent, and when he is going to sell and purchase goods for you or things for you, it includes the inner property also, then he will be called as an agent. He will be called as a mercantile agent. And a non-mercantile agent means when a person is being appointed not for commercial purposes, not for sale and purchase, for other things. Means we take an example of a legal agent, that is an advocate who is being appointed. There is an agency created who has been appointed as a legal agent, means he will represent his client before the judge. Okay, so legal agent. Then wife is also there. So these are like agents which are non-mercantile. They are not there for sale of certain things, sale of your property. Okay, now in subsection 9 they have defined mercantile agent. Okay, mercantile agent means a mercantile agent having in the customary course of business as such agent authority. Agent authority, we have already seen agent is having a capacity to enter into contract on behalf of the principal. So he is having a capacity. He is a catalyst between the principal and the third parties. Okay, so he is having capacity, he is having authority to create legal relationship between the principal and third parties. Okay, so such agent authority either to sell goods or to consign goods for the purposes of sale or to buy goods or to raise money on the security of the goods. So they have specifically defined here the mercantile agent. Who is a mercantile agent? Who is having authority, who is having capacity as an agent, and what he can do? He can sell the goods, he can consign the goods for the sale, he can buy the goods, or he can raise money on the security of the goods. He will be called as a mercantile agent. Means in simple way you can say mercantile agent is a person who is going to sell and purchase goods. Here in Sale of Goods Act we are telling goods on behalf of the principal. Okay, so he is a mercantile agent. Now section 2 subsection 10, that is price. Price means the money consideration for the sale of goods. See, when the goods are sold, there are two parties. One is a buyer, the other is a seller. The buyer is going to sell the goods to the seller is going to sell the goods to the buyer. When he sells these goods, what he does, he delivers possession. He transfers the ownership. Means he transfers possession, he transfers ownership of the goods because it is a sale. And when he transfers the ownership, what will happen? He will take something as consideration, and that consideration is what? Price. So when the seller sells the goods to the buyer has to pay the price. And what is price? That is money. See, when goods are sold for goods, means ownership of goods is transferred for the ownership of other goods, that is called as a barter, isn't it? That is called as a barter system. Here it is sale. So when sale is there, price is fixed. One party is going to give the goods, the ownership, the possession, while the other party, that is a buyer, is going to pay the price, that is money consideration for the sale of goods. Okay, now subsection 11, property. Now what is property? Property means the general property in goods and not merely a special property. This is very important. When ownership is transferred, the general property in the goods is transferred. See, when ownership is there, as Austin has defined ownership, it is unlimited in point of user, disposition and duration. Means when you are an owner, you can sell it, you can gift it, you can mortgage it, you can pledge it, whatever you want you can do. You will decide about disposition. Similarly, the property will be yours for a long duration. It will go generations after generation. Every generation has to protect the property so that it will go to the other generation. So it is unlimited in the point of duration also, and it is unlimited in the unrestricted on the point of user. You can use it as you want, you can dispossess it as you want, and it will be for a long period yours unless you sell. So what is property? Property is general property in the goods, means lots of rights you have. When you are an owner, lots of rights you have in the property, and those all lots of rights are being transferred, then that is called as ownership is transferred. So general property in goods means ownership in the goods, all the rights in the goods, and not merely a special property. See, when I give possession of the goods to you for a particular purpose, not ownership, then that will be called as a bailment. When I am giving you possession of the goods as a security for loan, that is called as a pledge. In pledge, in bailment, what is happening? I am giving you a right, a particular right, that is right of enjoyment or right of possession. I am not transferring ownership. I am not transferring the general property in the goods. Okay, so general property in the goods means ownership in the goods, that is bundle of rights in the goods, and not a special property, not merely a special property. So property means the general property in the goods and not merely a special property. That is defined in subsection 11. Okay, now subsection 12 is telling about quality of goods. What is quality of goods? It means the state or the condition, how the goods are at the time of sale, that the condition of the goods, that is called as quality of goods. Okay, now subsection 13 is telling seller. Seller means a person who sells or agrees to sell. As we have seen, buyer means a person who buys or agrees to buy. In sale, there are two people, two parties. One is a seller, one is the buyer. The term buyer is defined in subsection 1. Term seller is defined in subsection 13. Okay. 14 subsection telling about specific goods. Specific goods means goods identified and agreed upon at the time of sale, contract of sale is made. Specific goods means when I tell I want to purchase this, or the seller is saying that okay, I am ready and willing to sell this, I am having the possession. So goods identified and agreed upon at the time of sale, that is called as a specific goods. In the further videos, we are going to see about classification of goods also, like existing goods, contingent goods, future goods. At that time also I will explain to you what is specific goods. Means when the buyer is telling clearly to the seller, I want this goods. He is clearly telling, he is identifying, he is telling I want this, then that is called as a specific goods. Okay. Next, the last is subsection 15, which tells that expressions used but not defined in this act and defined in the Indian Contract Act have the meaning assigned to them in that act. Means in Sale of Goods Act, these words are being defined. Only these words are being defined. These words will have this meaning. When you are going to interpret the Sale of Goods Act, you have to take the definition which I mentioned in subsection 2. But there are many words which are not defined in this act, but they are defined in Indian Contract Act. Indian Contract Act is a general act for contract, and Sale of Goods is what? A special act. So the words which are not defined in this act but defined in Indian Contract Act, you have to take the meaning of the words which are mentioned in Indian Contract Act. Okay. So this is section 2, which tells about the definition. Now section 3, which tells about the application of the provisions of the Indian Contract Act 1872. The unrepealed part. In Indian Contract Act, two parts are being repealed. One is of partnership and the other is the sale of goods, that is section 76 to 123. But the other part is unrepealed. The unrepealed provisions of the Indian Contract Act, save insofar as they are inconsistent with the express provision of this Act, shall continue to apply to contract for the sale of goods. Sale of goods is a special act. It is having certain provisions which will apply to sale of goods. But the Indian Contract Act is the General Act. So the General Act is having certain provisions which are not mentioned in this, in Sale of Goods Act. So you have to take into consideration that the unrepealed part, means the rest of the Indian Contract Act, will continue to apply to sale of goods only when it is not opposite to, not inconsistent to this act. Means the consistent part of the Indian Contract Act will continue to apply for the contract of sale. See, sale of goods, sale is a type of contract. Here they have not mentioned about the seller will give an offer, the buyer will accept. They have not mentioned this. So we have to take into consideration that sale is a contract. So all the provisions of the Indian Contract Act will apply here. But the special provisions in this act will apply for sale of goods. So the provisions which are in the Indian Contract Act will continue to apply to sale of goods also, because sale of goods is a special type of contract. I'll repeat section 3. The unrepealed provisions of the Indian Contract Act, save insofar as they are inconsistent. Save insofar as they are inconsistent means they are consistent. They are in according to, with the express provisions of this act, shall continue to apply to contract for the sale of goods. Okay. Here we have completed till section 3. In the further video, we are going to see the specific topic, formation of contract, what is sale, what is sell and all. Okay. Bye bye. See you in the next video.